How are y'all doing, good people? This is Coach Ben, and we are here with our lovable and favorable Weston Financial Institute. And here at Weston Financial Institute, our goal is to help educate people on how to prepare themselves to live the life they deserve. And when it comes down to finances, we got to take a look at those investments. And when you want to have a tool that's handy to kind of understand how long it might take you to double your money, you have the rule of 72. So, what is the rule of 72? Well, it is a tool that's used by really a lot of people who want to understand how long it takes a certain investment and what certain rate you may want to receive to reach a certain growth or make a certain amount of money. So, the rule of 72 basically is used as a way to calculate your money and how long it will take to double said money. Let's say you invested in some type of debt security. Maybe it's like a bond or something, or maybe it's an investment that returns a certain amount of money, right? Well, to use the rule of 72, our first example here, let's say your investment were to earn, let's say 6% on an annual basis. That's your annual yield per investment. And when it comes down to this investment, let's say it takes about 12 years to double that money. How does that work? Well, with simple math, we can figure that out. Again, all you have to do is take the number 72. So this number is like a constant number in this equation. We're always going to use the number 72 when you're trying to find ways to double your money. And then you will divide it by the interest rate. So we have a 6% interest rate, but we're not going to use the percentage here. We're going to take that out and we're just going to put the coupon rate there, number 6, letting you know that within 12 years, you can double your money. So basically, if you put $100 in today and you make 6% on the $100, we'll make a better looking dollar sign there. So you put $100 in, it will take 12 years at a 6% rate to make that $100 turn into $200, right? So it gives you an idea of how long it will take you to double your money. But you can use the rule of 72 for just more than that. You can use it on the reverse side and understand how to estimate a certain interest rate you want to make if you have a certain time frame you want to reach, right? So let's take it in reverse. So to figure out your interest rate and to understand what you have to make if you're looking to make a certain amount of money in a certain amount of years, you use this formula, taking the number 72 and dividing it by the years you want to see it take. So let's say you want your money to double in 9 years, saying you put $1,000 in, you want to see $2,000 come out. Well, for this type of investment, within 9 years, you would have to make an 8% return by taking 72, then dividing it by the number of years, 9 years, giving you an 8% return, meaning you have to make 8% on your money invested to double it within 9 years. There's a third way you can use the rule of 72 to better your financial situation by using it as a way to estimate inflation or the power of your dollar. Because as you probably guess, as inflation continues to rise, your purchasing power starts to diminish, meaning that in 50 years, your $200 you may have may not buy you the same thing it bought you today. And it definitely won't buy you the same thing it could buy you back 50 years ago. So, to understand how much you need to make and how to sustain your ability to buy the same things, you have to understand what interest you need to make to match inflation. So, you can use the rule 72 to figure that out. Because let's say you have an inflation rate of 3%, because on average, you'll see about a 2 to 3%, maybe even 4% when it comes to inflation for the United States. So just cut it down the middle and say 3%. So within 3%, and a 3% inflation rate, you're looking at your money losing half its value within the 24 years. How's that? Well, again, you take the number 72 and you're going to divide it by the inflation rate, meaning within the 24 years, if you have a 3% inflation rate, you can see your money lose half its value. So this is something to keep in mind, because if you're looking for ways to protect your value of your money, you may want to start looking for some type of investments to do so and other ways to go about it. So to kind of recap this, why would you use Rule of 72? Well, it is a quick way to estimate not only how long it takes you to double your money based off the interest rate, you can also see how long inflation can continue to erode your dollars before you lose half of your value. And you will usually use the Rule of 72 when you're trying to understand long-term investments like stocks, bonds, things that will take time, and you have to use that time to calculate what you want to see at the end of that time. And again, when it comes down to tools like this, do not just take it and make it your end all be all, right? It is a great way, in a practical way, to understand different growth and potential of growth with certain investment scenarios. However, there are risks involved. Number one is that it's just a way to gauge and get an idea, but it's not going to be the exact way to figure out how much money you're going to make when you make investments, right? Because when you take into effect the certain risks involved with the market has to maintain a certain inflation rate or a certain interest rate to make it doable, make it plausible. But interest rates change, inflation rates change, things do change. So this number is not a concrete number. Now, along with that, it doesn't take into account any other commissions, fees, taxes that you may have to pay. That does take away from your overall profit. And really, you just don't want to use one tool to understand your way to better your financial situation, right? This is just one tool. Shouldn't be the end all be all. There's multiple out there. And if you want to learn a little bit more, well, this is where we at Weston Financial Institute can help with that. Hopefully that makes sense, but I do want to make sure we check that knowledge just to see if we can use this knowledge we have just learned in a scenario. So for our knowledge check, let's say an investor wants to estimate how long it will take to double their money with a fixed annual rate of return, let's say of 6%. So using the Rule of 72, which of the following is the best estimate of the number of years it will take to double your investment? Pause the video here, give you a chance to think this through, and when you're ready to answer your question, hit the button, unpause, and we will talk through the answer. Alrighty, hopefully you hit that button. I just didn't sit there and be quiet for no reason. When you think about what it would take to see your money grow if you have a 6% return, and if we use our formula that we just learned, what do we need to do? Take 72 and do what? Divide it by that 6 for the 6%, meaning that it would take, if you're paying attention, about 12 years to double your money if you were to sustain a 6% return until you get your money back. Hopefully that makes sense. And if you have any questions, want to learn a little bit more, please visit us at www.westonfi.org, or send us an email at info@westonfi.org. Follow us on social media because we're trying to grow our following there at WSF Institute or WS Finstitute. We're working on seeing if that works. Or give us a call at 334-413-1799. And we're here to help answer any financial questions you may have.